I had a couple of people call me out, just a couple of guys that were in a position and had a place and space in my life to say, hey, it's not them, it's not everybody else, it's you. Like, you're really hard to work for. You're not a
Wow.
nice guy. You're not leading people. You made $1 million, but look at the destruction you left in your path. As an
Yeah.
analogy. Yeah, so I mean, it was probably a decade ago. I realized that, and then I just went back to square one and really started unpacking my story to see what it carries, because it carries over to business. Your business will never, it will only be as healthy as you are. Your
Mhm.
business will only grow to the degree that you do. The people will only, grow with you to the degree that you're helping them grow. And I really realized that that's a huge responsibility in business. It's a duty you have, especially like men, that's your audience, right? And it's like culture pushes against men that need to explore their story and be vulnerable and figure out what their strengths are and figure out where they're
Mhm.
not good and figure out where they've got a mess and they've got junk and they've got stuff that they've got to work
Mhm.
through, and then be able to say, hey, team that I lead, like, I'm the boss, right? I'm the leader,
Mhm.
CEO, but I'm really working on this right now. And this is going to make me a better person for me and for you guys. So bear with me through this.
Or back up, you mentioned you were angry, insecure. So, and you really, I love what you're saying about teaching men to explore our story. There's so much that our story is telling us that if we're willing to put our finger on it. So how did you start exploring your story? How did you connect those points of why you felt insecure and angry?
Yeah, and I was so angry that if you told me I was angry, I'd be like, F you, I'm not angry, and
Right.
I'll fight you. And now I know jujitsu, right?
Yeah,
So like,
exactly.
where that's what painted babies about. Like, you can't be vulnerable. You got to be perfect and 5 star. You got to be the shiny marketing brochure all the time. But you think of
Yeah.
an engagement with you and another man, you're having a conversation, you're both, it's like, who's willing to go first and break down a little bit and be vulnerable and share something that maybe a friend finds a blind spot in you that you didn't see, and you own it and you start exploring it, or maybe you share something with them that was a hidden area of your life,
Mhm.
and you bring that up, and then the other person goes, oh man, he's not perfect, he's got a chink in his armor, okay, I do too, and then boom, you connect and you dive at this totally
Mhm.
deep level. And just to have like one other male in your life, I would tell listeners too, if you can have one person like that in your life that you can connect with at that deep level, you have more in your life than 80, 90% of the men out there, that
Yep.
at least that I interact with. Last. So I walk into this MMA gym, 2007. I'm 26. It's right before my son's born. Hold up, 220 pounds of muscle, ego, attitude. And I walk in, I'm here for kickboxing. They're like, well, kickboxing's over, but jiu-jitsu's about to start.
Mhm.
And they're like, take a look over there. And there's all these little guys around in pajamas, right? It looks a little weird. It's a bunch of dudes
Yeah.
rolling around sweating on each other. That's what the outsiders see. And I'm like, well, I'll do that. They're like, listen, here's the goal. You need to grab somebody by their jacket, throw them to the ground, get on top of them. Just watch what this guy's doing with this guy, and choke him, crank his arm, whatever. I said, awesome. I'll do that. Oh, I said, you want me to go with that big guy over there? They're like, no, go with this kid over here, Timmy. I don't remember his name, but Timmy's like 15, 130 pounds. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, Timmy's about to get it. And Noah, who's still a good friend, first time I met Noah, slaps me on the back and he says, just take it easy on him. But oh, if Timmy does anything that makes you want him to stop, if you want him to stop doing whatever he's doing, make sure you tap out, tap on him, and he'll stop. And then if he taps on you, you stop. Those are the rules of engagement. He's like, go get him. He's like, go get him, big guy. So I go out and I go after this kid, and he grabs me, uses all my energy against me, throws me on my back, jumps on top of me. And like, I just feel all of the air getting constricted out of me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to throw Timmy off of me. So I bench press him off of me, and he spins around my arm and grabs it and, arm locks me. And I'm like, my arm's going to break. Noah's like, tap, tap. So I tap out. And I go, all right, he got lucky. Can't do that again. Same thing happens. And now he's on my back. He's choking me. And then he's choking me with my shirt. And then he's, cranking my foot. Yeah, everything I knew about, say, physical confrontation with another person was just totally 180'd. And that was my
Mhm.
introduction to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, BJJ.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it ever since. Jiu-jitsu, I mean, jiu-jitsu saved my life in a lot of ways, but I think just from it's such a great analogy about life. You know, you're confronted with something, and so many times we like you have to face it. You can't run from it. But it's like you try to train, wreck, barrel, run through it. And sometimes that's the worst thing you can do. Sometimes you just need to wait and see what happens and then respond to it. Jiu-jitsu is so much responding to what the other person is doing and using that to your advantage
Mhm.
and finding your strengths and finding your game. And it yeah totally exposed me. It's cool. I think as a man, one of the tenets of being a man is you have to be able to protect others and stand up for others and do it in a healthy way, not by puffing
Mhm.
up and saying, hey, I can kick your
Yeah.
ass, but the more I learn jujitsu and the more I've used it a few times out of the academy, the more responsibility I see that it's like this is a great tool to have that I hope I never have to use because it works and it
Right.
works really
Yeah.
well. And I've seen it. I've seen it outside of the gym when it really mattered, and I'm glad
Mhm.
that I have it. Yeah.